Hello, everyone. I feel like it's been a while since we've been on here, but maybe not that long. We are back for another Grace for Purpose episode. We are talking about faith while waiting. We've been kind of stuck on that topic for a couple months now, and I'm super excited for the special guest that we have on with us tonight. We have content marketing strategist Kendra. She goes by Kay. So we are going to learn about her journey as a mompreneur, get into a little bit of marketing strategy talk as well, and then of course talk about faith while waiting. So I'm going to give the floor to Kendra or Kay to just introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about yourself and your background.
So, hi, ladies. A little bit about myself. I used to do radio sales about, goodness, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. And so that's how I fell in love with marketing. And when I was in radio sales, that's when social media began to become a big thing. And clients that had already hired me wanted to get social media strategies or they wanted me to manage their social media. So that's how I started making side money from, being a radio salesperson and then running their social media platforms. And then I kind of like fell off. And then someone reached out to me and was like, hey, do you still do this? And I was like, oh, I could do this again to make extra money again. And that's when I decided to go back and learn more about it. And then I decided to start my own business from it. And then, so I was originally a social media manager. And then I pivoted into more of the marketing aspect because I was getting clients and they were wanting me to run their social platforms, but they didn't know what offer they wanted to have. They were unsure about who they actually served. They didn't have clear messaging. And I was having to go back to the basics of everything and really teach them like how to unlock all this clarity. And that's how I turned into doing content marketing so people could learn how to create content with is actually purposeful and that will help them attract their clients and convert them.
And I follow you on social media and I pick up a lot of great tips from your social media. So that's a shameless plug. Make sure that you follow her on social media. We'll make sure that she shares her handles here shortly. So as a mompreneur, right? Because it sounds like you started in radio and then just taking a look at your bio, this is not even the field that you were going to go into. So what kind of like directed you in this path now running your own business?
So it's funny because in radio, whenever you sell something, they take a portion of your sales. And I was like, I don't want them taking this big portion of my sales.
Right.
And it's like, I want to run my own business and have my own prices and make more of the money. So it was just like, I was there and I was learning. And what I love the most is that I was able to help business owners understand how to market themselves because I feel like marketing is literally under one sphere and it's literally kind of all the same. You need to let people know who you are, what problem you solve, and then how they can get in contact with you or take the next step. That's literally what it all is because that's what a radio commercial does. It tells people what problem you're solving and where they can find you to get the problem solved. So that's what I did for radio because what I noticed, like especially here where I'm from, businesses would open and then they would be closed the next day
Got
because
it.
they couldn't get people in the door because they were not
Okay.
marketing themselves. Their doors would be shut. And it just saddened me because it's like you had this dream that you wanted to grow and you wanted to create for whatever specific reason, and you couldn't even maintain it because you failed to market yourself properly. They open the doors, they have the pretty sign up front, and it's like no one's coming in because you haven't let people know you were there and that you existed. So that's ultimately how I kind of fell into loving marketing, but then going more towards the digital aspect of things because I just feel like just mainly the content aspect of things.
Okay.
Because I feel like once you master your content, once you master who you're serving and who you are, and you master your messaging, you can go on any platform, literally. You can
Okay.
go anywhere. Like you just need to understand how to post on that platform, but your messaging is going to be the same. And if you can articulate your value to your audience it doesn't matter what platform you're on.
Got it, right. And I think you said something that's very important. You have to, first of all, identify what your value is to be able to talk about that authentically and share it. So I
Right.
know that we'll get into that a little bit more, but I wanted to point that out because I know for myself that's something that I've even struggled with as a business owner. And you talk about, having the pretty signs and
Mhm.
businesses they open, but you know, they shut really quickly. I think the statistic is you'll know a successful business if they stay open for more than 5 years, right?
5 years.
That's
Yep.
normally the test.
Yeah.
If you can't stay open more than 5 years, that's where
Right.
you start to rethink things. So just understanding your value in the very beginning can help you create that longevity as a business owner. So I think that's really important.
Right. And then for the digital platform, it's like people want to take the pretty photos and have the website. And it's like,
Right.
you don't have any clients. You need to master getting people into your door first, because once you're getting the consistent clients, then you can pay for the photo shoot, the website. Because if not, it's
Right.
coming out of your pocket. And
Yes.
just something as simple as having like a one page website is so simple. You just want to learn how to tell people how you can solve their problem and get better at that first before you worry
Right.
about all the other stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Right. So we're talking about a lot of good things so far already. So let's talk about faith while waiting. Let's dig into that. So because you do have a daughter, right?
Hmm.
You are a mompreneur. So have you faced any seasons of waiting while growing your brand and business? And what helped you during those seasons?
So I feel like we're always in a season of waiting, no matter what. Like we always
Listen.
want the next thing, the next thing, the next thing.
Yes.
And I just feel like one thing I'm going to say is waiting is not easy. It's not. It,
Yes.
it can it can get discouraging to wait, but I feel like what helps me a lot is to really focus on God and the blessings that he has given me and the things that are right in front of me. I feel like when you're so focused on the circumstances and what you don't have, it puts you in
Hmm.
place of feeling discouraged or hopeless. But when you focus
Right.
on, like, all the things that God has put in front of you right now, like you're healthy, you have a family, you have a roof over
Yes.
your head, like he's continuously blessing us each and every day. He's providing for you. Your bills are paid, food is on the
Right.
table. And we take those things for granted because it's like, oh, I'm owed that, like you just deserve it. But it's like,
No.
we don't deserve anything,
No.
So just really, like, just praying more in those instances and just talking to him and asking God what he's trying to teach me in those specific seasons and during that specific time, because he'll reveal to you what you're supposed to learn in that season of waiting. And I feel like
Definitely.
it's also important to be, taking action if he's telling you to take action, and just being obedient on the things that he's, revealing to you. Because when we decide to just kind of procrastinate and put it off to the side, it's like you're praying for this thing, but he's like, I'm trying to get you prepared for what you're asking for, but you're,
Listen.
being disobedient.
Right.
So that's what I would say. Pray more, thank God more for the things that you have, because I'm sure it's at least one thing you prayed for in the past that you have right now. And
Right.
then to be obedient when he's telling you to do something. When he tells you to do something and it's from him, to not procrastinate, but to
Right.
move on what he's telling you to do.
Yes. Yes. So I remember a post that I shared, and I think it was I'm just trying to remember. It was a post or a blog that I wrote a long time ago, and it was go back and look again, right? Because sometimes we're always looking for that next thing,
Right.
and we didn't do the last thing that God told us to do. And that's sometimes why we are in those seasons of waiting. And
Mhm.
as a business owner, I'm not sure if you can attest to this, but as a business owner, you do have to go back to the drawing board. You have to go back to the original plan that you wrote down, because sometimes we try to skip steps, right? We
Mhm.
try to skip to the part where clients are just pouring in, everything is just happening the way that we want it to happen. And it's
Right.
like you have to go through the process. You have to do every step. And when you take your plan to God, he lays out that plan for you. But you can't skip any steps, or you're going to be constantly in that season of waiting.
Right. You definitely can't skip any steps, and you have to make sure you're aligned for what he has planned for you. Sometimes
Yes.
we want one thing and he's
Right.
telling us to do something else, but we haven't, prayed or sat still long enough to hear from him because we're so focused on God, why haven't you given me this? And he's like, look, I'm trying to
Right.
give you something better, but
Listen.
you still fighting me, and I so I just feel like it's really important to just talk to him on a continuous basis. Like, what's the verse that I always go back to? Is like, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his
Yes.
righteousness, and all things will be added unto you according to his riches, according
And
to
his
his,
plan.
not
Yeah.
ours.
Not ours.
So,
Because ours is just a little bit. If you think
right.
about it, ours is minimal. It's a small amount compared to what God has laid out in front of us. So you could take your little, but it's like, no, you know what? I want all that God has to offer for
Right.
me.
Right. That's
All of it.
exactly it. And his is going to lead to the peace that we're seeking, the joy that
Yes.
we're seeking, and just all around fulfillment because we listen to his plan for us.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. I love that. So what now do you work normally with women clients?
Female entrepreneur.
Okay. Okay. So what unique challenges have you found that women, specifically mompreneurs, when it comes to marketing, and how do you help them overcome those challenges?
So, some of the challenges are having time. That is like the biggest
Yeah.
one, but that's literally for any person, like having
Yes.
time. And I feel like to help you have the time is dedicating a CEO day or a day that's uninterrupted. Like when my daughter was younger, I'm so thankful for the people that will watch her for me if I needed them to. If I had to do a client
Right.
call, I was like, hey, look, my little unit, like, look, I have a call this time. Can you watch her? Or I would schedule it like when my mom was able to watch her, my boyfriend would watch her for me. And so that really helped. And then like when she got older, just teaching her, like, hey, I'm working from home. This is what it looks like. And,
Right.
like, setting up snacks for her to be able to get on for herself. I found an article to kind of help me. And so I would put snacks and I showed her how she can get her own snacks. And then I'd be
Okay.
like, okay, I'm going to shut the door. And when it's closed, don't knock on it, don't say anything, don't do anything. And I would just, peep out and check on her from time to time, and she would be good because it was just like we had a conversation and just really
Right.
training her to get used to me working, and like sharing with her what it looks like. Okay, we can record a reel together, we can do this, and her
Yes.
being excited about doing the things together, and knowing like, okay, mom has a business, okay, she's working from home, she's doing things on the computer. And that's literally kind of, what helped me. And but having that CEO day and just having that dedicated time. And what I like to do is like for marketing aspects, I like my clients to have that dedicated time where we meet each other the same time every week. So it can become a habit for them to be like, what,
Right.
this is my day that me and Kendra worked on marketing. Like, so this is going to continue to be my day. This is going to continue to help me show up for myself and do the things that she taught me and implement them. So that's really one of the key factors.
Okay, so definitely time, setting aside a schedule. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand with when you're in those waiting seasons, right? And becoming more organized, definitely as
Yes,
a
your
mompreneur.
systems. Yes, having time blocks for the different things, setting like
Right.
3 tasks a day to get things completed. So I usually give my client like specific tasks that they need to have done by the time we meet the next week to kind of
Okay.
give them that time. And then just you like you said, having like systems in place to cut back for the time, like making sure you have like your email sequence set up, making sure your CRM system is set up for you to onboard
Yes,
your clients a lot easier.
definitely.
Like a lot of people want to try to manually do stuff a lot of times, and it's like it took you 10 minutes to send this message to 5 people when you
Right.
could have just clicked a button. So really not,
Yes.
skipping those steps. And as you grow, you're learning, okay, I need this, and filling in the gaps for yourself. Even with your, you're having your content, seeing how you can have that like automated in some type of way
Right.
to be able to save you time. Like you can schedule out posts, or, YouTube kind of has that SEO aspect. What I'm learning from there is like when I post videos, people are clicking on my links and then
Mm-hmm.
they're downloading stuff and then they're going into an email sequence and my email sequence is selling for me. I've done the upfront work and then it's just easier for me on the back end.
Right. See, this is why we need to book a session, right? So she can give you these gems and more, but specifically to your target audience to help you build that content, right? So, yes, I'm learning a lot of great things here, and I know that our viewers will too. So, we talk about understanding your value, right, when it comes to being a business owner. How important is showing up and being your true, authentic self in marketing, and how do you incorporate that in your strategies?
So I feel like nobody can be you, and that's honestly like the secret piece to your, your content is you. Like there's a thousand other marketers, but it's like not all of them have the went through radio sales experience. Nobody took the
Right,
journey that you took to get to where you are. And when you share aspects of that, that is giving your full perspective. Like I had two bookkeepers that I've worked with. One specifically works with e-commerce, clients, and the other one works specifically with Airbnb. But they both went like that's two completely different people that
right,
I work for,
exactly. Yeah,
So one took Airbnb courses to learn more about it, to help them sell it better, and to help them save the correct tax, things the tax deductions that they need. And the other one teaches you, gaps that you may be missing when it comes to your funnels and how you might be spending too much money on your marketing and how to keep more money in your
got it.
pocket. So it's like those unique things, those things make them unique. And they know a lot about those aspects and they can share their perspective. It's like, whenever you show up as yourself, you're going to attract the right people to you because
Right,
not everybody's meant for you, and that's okay.
right,
Some of us are introverts, extroverts, it's just really important to be able to show up as who you are and not doubt that and just kind of own it.
right,
Now, it hasn't always been easy for me, especially with me for social media because truthfully, I was somebody that my personal page, you won't go see me for like 2 to 3 months at a time because I really didn't care about
right. Okay,
social media. But from a marketing aspect, if you want people to know about you, you're going to have to be out there promoting yourself, being top of mind, and letting people know like who is this person, bringing awareness to your brand because social media
right.
is ultimately like having a word of mouth. Because I love when people say, I have word of mouth, like social media is the same thing. It's word of
Yeah,
mouth. It's word of mouth, but
exactly.
it's you promoting yourself and putting your word of mouth out there. So I just think it's really important to not hide from video. Just
Yeah.
embrace it. It's the fastest way to get your
Yes.
message out there. I used to hide from it for the
Yeah.
first year. I hated doing all of the video stuff, but now I find it a
Mhm.
lot easier for me to just click the live button and talk about whatever I want to talk about rather than, sometimes spending time editing the content and piecing it all together, especially
Right.
if I don't feel like doing that.
Yeah. Right. And that's something, listen, with me, I don't like it, but I know how important it is. So, is as you grow, that's another part of
Mhm.
stepping out of your comfort zone, and when you're in those seasons of waiting and going back to, okay, what is it that you need to do
Right.
to grow? There are things that we have to do because clients they don't just come overnight.
Mhm.
Revenue doesn't just come in your sleep. There's work that has to happen so that you can make money while you are sleeping, but you have to put the
Right.
work in up front. So yeah, you're speaking to a lot of us, including me, when it comes to stepping out of your comfort zone and showing up and, you know, being your true authentic self. And one thing that I've learned is, so I love doing podcasts. I love connecting with mompreneurs, entrepreneurs of all different types. And I think that has helped me step out of my comfort zone and get on camera. So one thing I can recommend is find a way that you can do it in a way that's comfortable for you
Right.
until you're like, okay, I've done this
Mhm.
well, so let me try to step out of my comfort zone in another way. But show up in a way that feels comfortable right now as you
Right.
continue to grow. But don't hide. You have to do
Right.
it.
Exactly. So that could look like, doing a voiceover first with your photo up there,
Right.
you get comfortable, or doing a reel without actually speaking if you need to, but still showing your
Yeah.
face until,
Right.
but pre-recording. That's something I used to do a lot. Before I went
Okay.
live, I would pre-record until I was like, okay, I'm comfortable with talking. I'm comfortable.
Right.
So it was like practicing, writing out a script if you need to, have the bullet points down,
Right.
to guide you. So it's a lot of different ways to help you to get comfortable, to build your confidence. It's just a matter of, starting, like you said, where you feel most comfortable, and but
Right.
keep graduating and getting better at it.
Exactly. You have to have a plan with everything. So write out your plan. Write out your plan for showing up authentically. Maybe it
Right.
is doing the voiceovers
Mhm.
first and then maybe doing the live podcast and then doing the pre-recorded. But
Right.
you need to have a plan so that you can show up authentically because the way that digital marketing is, it's fast. Every day there's something new that we have to learn. So that brings me to my next question. In the age of digital marketing, what online strategies have you found most effective for reaching and engaging with faith based audiences or mompreneurs?
So something that I feel like for faith-based audiences, just sharing your faith, sharing testimonials about how God has done something in your life, sharing it in your stories. Like if you're faith-based, being upfront about that. Like I love the Lord. Like
Yes.
like Jesus did this for me, not sugarcoating it. Like you just have to be whatever people are, very passionate about, they share it and they're not afraid about sharing it. If they're
Right.
political, they're sharing it. Like
Right.
it you have to share that. If you specifically want to work with moms, you share that. Why do you want to work with moms? What have you
Right.
learned to help you work with moms? Why do you want to work with Christians? Because you pray on your calls before you get started and you know how God will guide them. God has led you to, minister over people. Tell that in your content. Like it's nothing like be who you are meant to be.
Right.
Nothing wrong with hiding that. And then you can add for Instagram, have your hashtags, Christian entrepreneur, mompreneur, adding that in there. And that's going to help you connect with those people who are similar to you. I know something that I use a lot is women in business, Black women in business, women supporting women, like because I know that I want to serve women. So
Right.
using the right things to allow me to connect with the right people so that I can support them and not feeling ashamed for what I choose to do for my business,
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly. At the end, it goes back to knowing your value,
Hmm.
right? So everything is kind of like from what I'm hearing, the information that you're sharing, it goes back to knowing what your value is and what you bring to the table and what you can offer to people so that you can present your offer.
Right.
So this is all really good stuff. I'm learning a lot. I love this conversation. So I know social media is very big, right?
Hmm.
Most businesses, if you don't have social media, it may be hard to find you in 2023, right? So, what role does social media play in marketing for mompreneurs? And can you share a few tips for maintaining a positive and authentic presence online?
So I feel like it plays a huge role for mompreneurs, just depending on like where they are in the industry. But as a business in general, like you have to show up and market yourself. Like people are expecting you to have a social media.
Yeah,
When you Google your business, it can pop up your website, but it also 9 times out of 10, Facebook's gonna pop up or
right,
LinkedIn is gonna pop up if you have those pages. So you have to make sure you're being consistent on those platforms so people are really recognizing who you are and just owning that and showing up. I don't really think it matters like necessarily like if you're a mompreneur or not, but
right,
making it aware sometimes for people, that you do have a child. Because I know in the beginning, sometimes it was like hard for me to hop on a call if my daughter was there. So letting
yeah,
people, know like this, like sharing that in your content. I know like a lot of people who have younger kids, they share that and they're like, hey, I get on calls with my kids, or hey, this happens, just to make people aware. And people have to decide like if that's for them or if that's not for them.
right, exactly.
And I just I just literally feel like that's just the case. Like for me, like it's fine because I have a child. I get it. I understand, but for somebody else who doesn't have a kid, they might not understand and they don't want that interrupting, their
Right.
call. So you have to, let people know like how you're moving through your business, if that consists of you having your child, if it doesn't, because that's going to like possibly, deter someone from wanting to work with you. And you don't want to be aligned with somebody who doesn't get it because then they'll give you like, oh, it was horrible. Her child was on the call, but that wasn't your line client. That wasn't the
Right.
client for
Exactly.
you, But then you'll have somebody else who will be like, oh, she supported me with having my child on the call,
Right.
and I appreciated that she gets it. So just making sure you're sharing that what it looks like, and that's all about just sharing behind the scenes and inside and
Okay.
talking about it in your marketing.
Okay. And I've noticed that, sharing the behind the scenes of being a business owner, you get a
Mhm.
lot of really good engagement on that. But that's another
Right,
part of like authentically showing up, which
right.
I think a lot of people may, struggle with. So
Mhm.
what tips can you help someone or provide to someone to help them overcome that fear of showing up?
So one thing that I had a client and she was like, I want to share my kids, but I'm worried about it. And I was like, well, what do you feel comfortable with sharing? Like, so writing out a list of what you feel comfortable with sharing with your audience. You don't have to share everything,
Right.
sharing just little inklings of like, what did I ask of today? I asked about brunch today. Do you love brunch? Like, who doesn't love brunch? Like, if you
Right.
don't love it, it's kind of weird. But but like sharing like little things, like I share me growing my garden. Like, I don't share my daughter as much, but people are aware like I have a daughter, like I might show her going to school here or there, but not like all the time. So just sharing little pieces that you feel comfortable with and, just writing that out what it looks like and just kind of easing your way into it. And then like if you are sharing your child or if you are sharing your spouse, talking to them like, are you okay with this, because
Right.
they
Yeah.
might not want to do that. And so I think that's important too because my daughter, she's like, turn the camera on so I can I'm like, look, you don't need to be on here all the time.
She wants her chance.
Right,
Yes.
I'm like, I don't want you on here all the time, but just be like literally figuring out, what you feel good about sharing
Okay.
and not feeling like it has to be every core aspect of you and
Right.
thinking about like how it can kind of tie into your business too, So just really doing that for yourself.
Okay. So it's the behind the scenes work. It's all work if you think about it, but it's just putting a plan together. Like
Right.
I'm a writer, right? So I write my plan and that's what works for me.
Mhm.
And I think that that's definitely something that can help is write it
Mhm.
out what it is that you're talking about this month, break
Mhm.
it down. And I think that's the tip that I've seen you share as well, like planning out your content. That
Right.
definitely it helps you stay on track. It helps you
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
when you're confused about what you want to talk about, go back to the
Right.
plan that you wrote down.
Right. That's literally it because once you have a plan, you can just follow the plan.
Right.
You don't have to worry about being inconsistent. You can follow the plan and you don't have to worry about what the algorithm's saying to you because it's like, well, this
Right.
plan. It's this is the plan. Like, the plan, see it all the way out and see what results you get before you
Yeah.
try to, stray away from it. But yeah, planning out the content for the week, planning out story post also. Because even your
Okay.
stories, it's strategic, but not always feeling like you have to sell because it is behind the scenes, showing what you're working on,
Right.
showing what you a family trip that you might be going on or you have went on. I like to share things after the fact because
Okay.
that's just
Yeah.
you don't even know when I'm gone, but
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm listen, like this conversation is amazing because it's everything that I need to hear, right? So, and I'm going to be very transparent like when it comes to social media and the marketing thing, like that's something that I'm continuously working on because it changes every single day, right? So you have to keep up with the pace, but I know that you have to authentically share up. So following your page has given me the inspiration and that motivation. I think I've even like sent you a message like keep going, you're motivating me. So it's important also as you're walking in your way in those waiting seasons, like connect with like-minded people, connect with people who can you can look at their page and you're like, hey, maybe I need to book a session with you so I can see what changes I need to implement. And don't be afraid to invest in yourself and your growth to help you go to that next level.
Right. And that's a great thing what you just said, like collaborating. So that's basically what I've been doing every Friday for this month is collaborating with someone
So
new, but collaborating with someone who kind of ties into my business. Like
yes,
work like I'm not great with SEO, so being able to teach my audience LinkedIn, email marketing, and then like the last week is about having a virtual assistant if you need one of those to support.
right,
So, like thinking about what my audience needs and what they desire to learn and how it can tie into my business and collaborating with, amazing women who can teach them and then
right,
expanding your audience. Even just talking to you right now, it's so much opportunity to support one another
definitely,
and have open conversations. And like
right,
I think we discussed before we got on the call, it's easier to talk to somebody else on live compared
yeah.
to compared to being
Exactly.
on here by yourself, because by yourself sometimes you're nervous and you're looking at
Yes,
that person pop up and
exactly,
then you kind of
right.
like me, I end up like feeling like I'm going to stumble over my words and stuff, but it makes you feel more comforting when you have somebody who you can collaborate with.
Yes, definitely. And I love to say like your net worth is your network, right? Like don't be afraid to connect with other people. Like you should always be in a position where you're willing to learn and to grow
Right.
because we don't know everything and the world changes every single day and social media is definitely one of those things that changes like what content you need to put out. Like I know when TikTok came out, I was like, what? What is this? And I still have not yet to master like using TikTok. So just connecting with the right people that you can learn and grow and build from, and being able to pour something into them as well. So it's not just like I'm getting all this information from you, but what are you gaining from me, right? So it needs to be
Mhm.
transferable.
Right. TikTok is a different animal. I feel like you have to post more on there. You
Okay.
literally do have to post more. You're going to have to post about like 5 posts a day on a
Right.
continuous basis. And it's more like using Instagram stories. So,
Yeah. I'm like, I'll leave that to the kids.
yeah, TikTok is more of a lead generation magnet. So, like, if
Right.
you have a lead magnet, like, you can literally like just kind of read things from there and direct
Mm-hmm.
to that. Because that's what I learned. Like, it helped me grow my email list for the most part.
Okay, got it. Okay, so it's beneficial, but whew, that's
Knowing how to
maybe
work.
that's 2024 for me. Yes. So are there any, I know you talked about the lives that you're doing. Are there any upcoming events that you can share with us that we can connect with you with?
So the upcoming event that I have, or upcoming live that I have, is about the power of email marketing. That's this Thursday at 10 a.m. on my Instagram, K's Concepts. And it's just literally talking about giving you insight on email marketing because I feel like it's very powerful. It's something I use a lot at work. I work part time as a marketing coordinator.
Whew.
Besides growing my business. So I've seen so much power in emailing the email list at work and emailing my own email list that I want to give people more insight on it, because it's like when you don't want to be on social media, you still have the power of your own audience and
Right.
contact them. And then, especially if they haven't even been on social media and they might have missed your post, you can direct them back to it. And it's a great way to, repurpose content and getting them onto your social media, getting them to see your offer or hear whatever it is that you're discussing. So just really embracing that. And then the last week of August, I think it might be the 20, I'm not sure. Like,
September.
I mean, the last week of September, I think it might be the 30th. I'm not even sure the date, but we're talking about having a virtual assistant, when to know when you need a virtual assistant, and like tasks that you would give a virtual assistant, especially like if you're a mompreneur and you're working another job like me. What task can I get my virtual assistant to make the most of my time? you know,
Okay.
like, so that's what we're discussing, like different tasks. And she is a mompreneur. She just had a baby, and she's
Oh,
focusing on CEO mamas. So this is
okay.
perfect for, she has a new
Yes.
offer that she has coming out, and I was like, oh, this is perfect for you. Let's talk about it since you're about to, launch that.
Yes, I love it. I love the collaboration. Like I'm really big on that. And we've never even met in person, but I'm like, hey, hey Instagram sister. Like I love just connecting with other women. So and you just continue to build your network that way. And then tell us, how can we connect with you on social media?
So you can, everything's K's Concepts. It's literally K's Concepts. Literally my Facebook, my website, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn. No, LinkedIn is my name, Kendra Grant. But literally
Okay.
everything, for the most part, I'm on there. But you're mainly gonna find me on Instagram for
Okay.
everything. Is where you're gonna find me for the most part.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation. I've learned so much, and I know that viewers will walk away with a lot of different tips to implement as they continue to grow in business. So I always like to end the conversations with my guests, leaving the audience with a word of inspiration or advice, something to motivate us by.
So, my word of advice is, when you don't feel motivated, to still show up. Like, I know I get all these messages about, oh, you motivate me to do this. Like, half the time I have like deal with a lot of negative self talk telling me not to do it, not to show up, or I'm tired, or,
Yeah.
So when you don't feel motivated, show up, because you don't know who actually needed to be impacted or hear that for the day. Like, I'm not saying don't take a break, but I'm saying in those times where you know you really can show up and you're making excuses for yourself to kind of avoid it, like,
Yeah.
show up, share whatever is on your heart, and tell people, like, you know what, I'm really not feeling motivated, or how you're feeling, because people will resonate with that. And that builds a lot of engagement. It builds a conversation. It's building the vulnerability, and to just kind of keep being consistent, keep learning, keep going. Don't give up on the dream if it is something that you know you are destined to do. Like, it's
Yes.
not easy. Entrepreneurship is not an easy task, and it really shows you who you are as a person. And
Yes.
you really have to be like, look at yourself, do the work, correct it, and just continue to, push forward, and not be afraid to show up and be direct about what you want. Show up and share your perspective. Show up and just be who God created you to be.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other way. Like, and you just trust that he's going to lead the right people to you. Don't worry about the likes, don't worry about the follows, because if you always notice on social media, you always have all these views and a little bit of engagement, because people are watching you, and the right
Right.
person is going to see you because you were obedient and you continue to show up and you continue to share your message. And lastly, invest in yourself if you need help. The
Yes.
longer you take to not invest in yourself, the longer you take, the longer it's going to take you to grow. So why not get the person who knows how, all the shortcuts to get you to where you
Yes.
need to be? And that's one of the best things that I did, is I invested in myself time and time again, and I grow and I learn. And don't just invest and not implement. Implement,
I
implement,
love
implement.
that.
Don't just sit on what you've learned. A lot of people like to just sit on it, and like, challenge yourself to go beyond where you are. Like, if you're doing the bare minimum, ask yourself, am I doing enough to reach the goals that I actually
Ooh,
want to do?
I love that.
Like, yeah, because we feel like, oh, I did one thing today, and it's like, did you do enough? Did you
Right.
did you reach out to enough people? Like, you wanted to hit this goal, but like, did you put blood, sweat, and tears into it to say, like, I did a good job? Or are we just doing the bare minimum and thinking that we're supposed to get the world? That's not how it works. It's going to take you to do the work up front. And most entrepreneurs that you see are 6, 7 figures, business owners, they've been fighting for this for like 12
Long
years.
time.
12 years. They didn't just pop out, and even if they have, it's been like minimum of 3 years,
Right.
and they
Right.
kind of just caught on the wave. But it's like, you have to do the work, and you have to think about, what you want your business to look like, not what anybody else wants it to look like, but what you want, what God told you, and sticking to his plan and seeing it through.
Yes.
I know I gave you way more than
No, that's all really good stuff. Listen, like I think that in those seasons and this season of waiting that a lot of people go through, and in the beginning you said we're always in a season of waiting, right? Because we're always wanting the next best thing, but we have to show up. So I think that the takeaway is be willing to hold yourself to the level that you want to see yourself at, right?
right.
Connect with people that can pour into you. Check
Mhm.
your environments, right? That's one thing that I've taken. Be willing to invest in yourself so that you can grow.
Right.
And take your plan to God. First of all, that's where we have to start. Take your plan to God. He will direct your path. He's the person that gives us the
Right.
insight and the wisdom and even the strength and the blood, sweat, and tears to keep going, right? So why would we
Right.
not start with Him first?
Exactly. I think I heard something. I think I shared something in my stories, and it was like we try to do things in our own strength, and God is the one who's going to give us the strength to see it through. But we
Right.
keep trying to like, what about I don't know this or I don't know that, and she was just like, God will give you the words. He will give you the right people. He will give you
Yes.
everything you need. But it's a matter of us relying on Him, surrendering to Him, and stop trying to rely on our own strength.
Yes.
Because like my favorite verse is trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean
Yes.
not unto your own
Your
understanding.
own understanding. Yes.
Right. And he will direct your paths. He will. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of us. He just wants you to trust him. And that's all he wants you to do. Trust me, seek me, and I will give you everything, that you need.
Yes, I love that. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I know this is not going to be the last time that we have you on discussing faith while waiting, being a mompreneur, and content marketing. Make sure that you please go and connect with Kay. I've been following her for a little over a year now on social media, and I pick up a lot of amazing gems. And I can tell that she's very authentic to her brand and who she is. So make sure you connect with her and book a session, right? Like she said, invest in yourself. You don't have to struggle, right? Make that a
Right. You
part of
don't
your
have to
plan.
struggle.
Make that a part of your 2024 plan because I'm going to make it a part of mine, right? So we definitely appreciate you. If you happen to watch the replay, let us know in the comments. Make sure you share this with the mompreneur or any entrepreneur who can walk away with some great gems tonight. And we appreciate you. Take care.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Of
Bye.
course. Bye bye.